In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use automation within Ableton. So the very first thing you're going to need is you're going to need to have a track in which you want to automate. So as you can see here, I've added this Neo Moon's testing plugin here, and I've just added a few notes down here. So now let's imagine that we wanted to add some automation to this track. So the way that we would go about doing that is we would likely want to get out of the session view and move into arrangement view. And we can do that by just grabbing our track here and moving it over to our arrangement view by hovering over this icon here. And then from here, what we can do is we can just drag this track over to the appropriate row. So here I'm going to add it to this Neo Moon layer here. Now there's a couple of things that we need to do before we can work over in this arrangement view. The very first thing that we need to do is we need to click on this button, which is the back to arrangement button. And the second thing we need to do in order to enable automation is we need to click on this enable automation arm button, which you see right here. So I'm going to click on that. And now we're going to have automation set up. Now to be able to visualize this a little bit better, let's just expand this track right here. And now what you're going to notice is that we're going to have the ability to add automation. And the way that we do that is we select this drop down here, which is going to ask us where or what, we want to automate. And in our case, let's just automate something from the mixer. So we'll begin with something really easy. And rather than doing speaker on and off, what we'll do is we'll select track volume. So now we're able to automate our clips track volume. So I can do this just by adding little keyframes here and then moving them to the desired level. Now let's imagine that we wanted to work with multiple automation lanes or automate many different track parameters in parallel. The beautiful thing about Ableton is we can do that and we can visualize our automations in a way which is really intuitive and easy to understand by simply stacking the automations on top of one another. So let me show you how that's done. So let's imagine, for example, that we wanted to automate our track volume, and that's what we just did here. But now let's imagine we want to automate reverb as well. And we don't want to have to toggle back and forth between those two automations because we want to see the interplay or be able to visualize the interplay between these two automations. So the way that we would do that is we would go over here to click on this plus icon, which would create the first automation lane. Okay, and now as you'll see, it's pushed this automation lane down and we're automating track volume down here, and we can make any adjustments we need down here. But now let's imagine, for example, again, that we wanted to automate reverb. Again, we can go to mixer, but now rather than having track volume selected, we can go down here to reverb. And now we're able to automate reverb. And again, we just follow the same process by adding keyframes here, and then we can automate our track like this. And again, if we wanted to add more automation lanes, all we would do is we would add our reverb to its dedicated lane by clicking on this icon. And then from here, what we could do is we could just continue to add more and more automation. So for example, we could also add our delay, and we could add our delay lane like that. So this is essentially how you go about adding automation to Ableton. I hope you found this valuable. And remember, if you want to learn how to create VSTs like this Neo Moon's testing plugin that you see in front of you now, and you want to learn how to design as well as develop VSTs without having to know how to code, head over to Neo Moon today, as we offer both VST design as well as VST development courses. Thanks for stopping by today.